Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be an update on this, the white Syma X8C quadcopter that I had converted to work with brushless motors in one of my past videos. In that video I had reused the factory receiver and transmitter, and basically the flight performance of it was quite poor. My ambition with that video was to see if it was possible to make this fly with reusing some of the internal parts like that, and the answer is yes, it can fly, but just not very well. So in this video I'm going to show you what it took to make this fly right, and at the end of the video I'll have a couple different flight perspectives on, either a camera on board or a camera outside, as well as a shot of me flying down at the park, so you can see how this flies and decide for yourself if this is something that you would like to take on and try. I did add a small FPV camera here, and there's a transmitter inside that's connected to this antenna right here, so I can actually fly this FPV using my goggles, which is kind of neat as well, but you can still fly it just by line of sight if you'd like to do it that way too. So let's roll on to the next scene and we'll see what it takes to make this thing fly. Okay, so for my radio I'm just using a pretty cheap Fly Sky radio and receiver. I think I paid around 65 bucks for this, so they're rather cheap, but they work pretty good. 6 channels does leave me 2 channels for auxiliary settings. I use the one here to arm it, and I use the second one here to switch flight modes, either have it set to angle mode this way or horizon mode that way. Seems to work pretty well this way. So let's go ahead and take off and check out the flight. So hit my arm switch. We're armed. Now I can throttle up and engage the motors. I'll turn it around here so I don't get mixed up inside. I'm not quite that good at flying yet. So as you can see, it's nice and stable. It responds to movements real fast. If I give it a little twitch here and let it level out, it's going to be hard to see it in view since I'm inside right now, but very nice. Let's put it outside and do a flight around the front yard so you can see how well this thing flies. So here I am flying out in the front yard. You can see that the flight performance is pretty good. It's quite fast as well. It handles just fine. I don't have any issues with it, so I'm quite happy with it as far as that goes. After we get through this flight video here and the next one where I'm showing you it flying through the front yard with the camera that was on board, I'll have a slideshow of pictures and descriptions to show you what I did to the inside of this thing and how I laid everything out to make it work. And then after that I'll have one short video towards the end of me flying around the park, so stay tuned for that as well. Okay, so this is just a short video from how this thing flew before I took it apart and put the new transmitter, receiver, and flight controller in it. So flying on the factory receiver and transmitter, you can see that it really was not flying very well. It was pretty much too shaky to be useful for anything. So in the next scene here, we're going to show the video of this thing flying with the new flight controller and receiver and transmitter, but this is all from the first person view with my little action cam that I have mounted on the front of the aircraft. So let's take a look and see how this thing flies. Alright, so it's time to show you how I did everything. The brushless motors obviously are all mounted up. I'll have a link in the description that brings you back to my previous video showing how I made all this stuff fit inside. So you can see that the battery is mounted below, but it could mount inside if you use the stock battery. On the inside here we can see that the Naze32 flight controller is dead center. To the left of that, it's hard to see, but that is the receiver that connects to my FlySky transmitter. To the right is the 200 milliwatt FPV transmitter that I use for the camera that is mounted on the front, and you can see the 4 ESCs that are mounted in each arm. Directly underneath the Naze32 is the power distribution board that connects the battery to all 4 of the ESCs. It makes for a nice clean installation and gives you a point to solder to. After that, we have the receiver. You can see it a little better in this picture. I do connect all my channels individually since this particular receiver does not support PPM, which would be a single input. It's important to note that the Naze32 must be pointed the correct direction, as you can see by the little gold arrow in the center of the circuit board. This module is my wireless Bluetooth module. It's not necessary, it's just something that I installed so that I can tune the aircraft without having to open it up and connect a USB connector to it. And this is a closer shot of the 200 milliwatt FPV transmitter that I use for my camera that connects to my goggles. And this is the antenna that comes out the other side here. This is a cloverleaf style antenna, but you can use different types if you wish. And that all connects to my Fat Shark Dominator V3 goggles, which I use for the FPV camera. I don't need to use this to fly. I can still fly it normally if I wanted to. The top camera there, the black one, is for the FPV, and the bottom white one is my action cam that I use to record the better quality footage while I'm flying. So that about wraps it up. You can see my whole deal we've got going on here. Yeah, it kind of turned it into a better looking aircraft if you ask me. It's a lot more useful and it's a lot more fun to fly. So the last thing I'd like to show you here are my PID settings that I used in Clean Flight to program this aircraft to get it to fly good. So you can use these settings if you want. The only thing I would suggest is not using my altitude settings that I have in there for the altimeter. They're a little too high, so you either need to reduce them or just turn it off, which is what I did. So lastly, the video we have here is me cruising around in the park and doing some flips and rolls and just having fun with it. Didn't crash it, so that's always a plus. But so we'll end it there. So thanks you guys for watching. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. So, alright, have a good one.